Hello. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my camera is still like wicked orange tonight, and I don't know why. So let me just see if I can fix that a little bit. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's fine for tonight. How are y'all doing? Let me make sure I have chat up here. Oh, I should put my headphones on. I'm working on my audio situation, so please tell me if anything sounds weird. Hi, everybody. Come on in. I am somewhat new to all of this. I just heard a sound. Hi, everyone. I sound a little low. Okay. Let's problem solve. How's that? Is that better? How's that? Is that better? I mean, I can just fucking crank it. You know what the problem is? When I have headphones on, I talk really quiet, but usually I'm a really loud person. Much better. Yay! Okay. If at any point I'm like blowing you out, way better than earlier. Yeah, I don't know what. Listen. Genuinely, it feels like every time I open OBS, it is in a completely different setting. I don't know what I'm doing in that sense, if I'm doing something wrong, but there it is. Blow us out, Kate. Okay, let me just. Today has been a lot. Let me pop out your chat so I can see all the lovely and maybe not so lovely things you're saying. Do I have at least one moderator here, right? Does anyone else want to be a moderator? Because you never know. And I would love to give people the option to kick people out. Hi! Y'all are so lovely. Y'all are so lovely. Okay, look, fogging up. Welcome to the summer at my house. Okay, that goes there. Okay, so yeah, let's just talk about it. This happened today. Apparently Ethan found my content. He must, I don't know how. I mean, no, I genuinely don't know how, because I'm like, I've seen myself a couple times on Reddit, but I didn't feel like it was like a ton of traction. You know, Alex and Lana, let me snark with blue text. Okay, Alex. Oh, I absolutely will mod Alex. Everyone go follow Alex as well. He is a member of what we are loosely calling the H3 Galaxy. I feel like I need like a space sound for that. Hear from Ethan's shout out. Oh, thank you, Abby. He lurks the sub. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah, so this happened today, and as Ethan said, it blew my tits. What is it? It literally blew my tits off my fat body, which is like one of my favorite things he's ever said. And that happened to me today, because right now, let me see. I started, first of all, I got almost 1,000 subscribers just in the last week. So thank you, everyone who is here and who is... Oh, Lana, you want it too, right? Thank you, everyone who's liking the content and sharing it. I just really appreciate it, because I feel like my wife said earlier, like, this is something that I've been training for years. Like all the little pieces of things that I've tried and experimented with, because I'm a creative person, so I always have something cooking in my brain. And this is kind of bringing it all together, and it feels really cool. So it's nice to see everybody. And yeah, so I think we're good with mods for right now. Thank you, the bee's knees. Yeah, this is definitely a Hasbara theme. That's actually the theme of the night. And also my oh my God, hang on. Were you guys the ones throwing tomatoes? Because I thought it was snarkers, and so I blocked tomatoes as a word. If it was you guys throwing tomatoes because I'm late, I'm going to unblock them, because that's really fucking funny. It was us. Fuck. Okay. All right. I will change that. I'll change it before next time because I will definitely be late again. I mean, I learned from the best, you know? Okay. So before we get into like the actual evening plan, some people have asked for a couple things from me. I've gotten requests, well, for my hair, my curly hair routine, because I do have curly hair. And that one I'm actually proud of because it's taken me a long time to learn how to do my hair appropriately. When I was little, my mom had no idea. It was the, you know, late 80s, early 90s. She just gave me an Afro pick. Like, and she just kept my hair in like this shape. And I got called cotton ball head by the girl next door, and it like destroyed me. So it's taken me a long time to learn how to do my hair. So I brought all of my products out, and then I will share them. And then someone asked for my skincare routine. I don't think that I have really good skin. I mean, it's just dry. I think it's mostly genetic that I don't like have acne or anything, but someone said I was like glowing earlier. So I was like, you know what? There are a couple things I'm pretty proud of, like that I enjoy, that I would recommend. And please keep in mind, obviously none of this is sponsored. It's just me nerding out about things that I care about, which I love to do. So I guess we'll start with, yeah, cotton ball head is diabolical. I'm going to take these off so I can show you my hair. I washed it last night, and then I kept it in a silk scrunchie because one of my little hacks, because I have fine hair that like falls, like it gets limp pretty quickly if I don't put a lot of stuff in it. You can like schedule curls for later if you put your hair up when it's still wet. And that's like been a huge game changer for me. And I've been starting to use the silk or silky scrunchies. Like I'm going back to the 90s with it, 80s, 90s, because they tear my hair less and there's less breakage. So you can see, I mean, the curls are not great today, but they're still pretty good. I mean, it's been up for way longer than it should have been. But it definitely has like more volume because I've been wearing it up, which is nice. It's like, so yeah. And my hair's long, so the curls aren't as bouncy, but I'm still going to give you a nice routine. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, but you can. So like if I need to go somewhere later, I will wash my hair, brush it, do all my stuff to it, and then just put it up. And then by later, it's like mostly dry, but the frizz isn't there, and it just kind of like unrolls, which is fun. You have the same hair? Okay, then you're gonna love this. So now you've seen it, but I'm hot, so I'm gonna put it back up. Okay, so first of all, genetics is a huge part of it, I'm sure, because my dad had curly hair. My sister has curly hair. It just came out like this, but I have learned how to like not make it worse because my hair used to be really, really dry for a couple of reasons. So let me see. I wrote all of this down so I don't forget anything. Okay. First of all, if you have hard water, if you live on a well like I do, you're gonna need to get a water softener. Hard water is terrible for curly hair. It just makes all these minerals build up on your hair to the point that once our water softener, we hadn't gotten one yet. My wife bought me a full house water softener because she's the best. But before we had one, my hair would get so like coated in the minerals from the well water that my hair couldn't get wet in parts. I was like, what the F is going on? And I just thought that it was like dead ends or something. But then the hairdresser was like, no, girl, your hair is like full of mineral deposits. Yeah. Nasty. Yeah, Martin would be proud. The Aquasana one is the one that I love and would recommend if you can't get like a full house one, right? So definitely that if you can afford it. If not, there are some things you can do. Clarifying shampoo like specifically for getting rid of like mineral deposits. And before we had the water softener, I would go and get my hair shellated at the hairstylist. They can do some sort of thing where it like strips the minerals off your hair. I don't know, maybe it's bullshit, but my hair always looked great afterwards. So there's that. As far as what you're putting on your hair for shampoo and also other things, no sulfates, nothing with alcohol in it. No parabens, nothing weird. You want to avoid sodium laureth sulfate or sodium lauryl sulfate, one of those two. The SLS, you don't want that in your shampoo because that just strips all the natural oils from your hair. It is a detergent, literally a detergent. That's what makes it really foamy. That's what makes your shampoo soap up. No sulfates. I actually went through a period where I didn't use shampoo. I only used conditioner. That was like a movement for a while. My friend got really into it, and you have to like deal with your hair getting really greasy and then it like revitalizes. I couldn't stick to it. So I just found like no sulfate shampoos. Yeah. SLS is not your friend. So I will say the thing that makes me buy a shampoo is that it's gigantic because I use a lot of product in my hair. I literally change all the time. And I think that's kind of good for your hair, like to change it up. I always feel like when I start using a new shampoo, it like feels better. So right now I'm doing coconut curls, which is fine. It smells really good. A lot of the stuff has coconut oil in it. It's just like a nice oil. Although I have heard that it can clog your drains more quickly. And then Shea Moisture with the pump from Costco. If it's got a pump on it, I'm getting it. We love a giant conditioner in this house. Yeah, OGX I've been very happy with. Okay, so that's my shower routine. I'll usually shampoo my hair and then put my conditioner on. And then while my conditioner is sitting in my hair, are you talking to me? Okay, she's yelling at basketball. While my conditioner is sitting in my hair, I will do everything else. So it gets like a little bit of like a deep condition every time I do it. Okay, so then I wash that out, and then I don't want to miss anything. Oh, okay. So when the shower is over, before I get out, when your hair is still soaking wet, leave in conditioner. Leave in conditioner. This stuff, Pattern, it's Tracy Ellis Ross's brand. Smells so good. It like smells like you're sitting in a salon chair. You know how they always have like the best smelling stuff? So this has been great. And I always use more than you think you need. Because for a while I wasn't using enough and it wasn't doing anything. So definitely go with the leave-in condish. I'm realizing this is a little more in-depth than I thought it would be. Because it used to be, I just shampoo and conditioner and then I throw in some regular conditioner as the leave-in. I've upped my game. Okay, so then I get out of the shower. I wrap my hair in a t-shirt, not a towel. Do not ever wrap your hair in a towel. It just makes it frizzy. Yeah, so you wrap your hair in a towel. It's like more of a gentle drying. It basically just sucks out like the excess moisture. And then I brush it through, starting at the ends so you don't break a bunch of your hair. I brush it through while it's still pretty wet. And then I apply. This is new. These are new steps for me, but I have enjoyed them and they do seem to make my curls a lot smoother and shinier when I do it. So I have, it's like a curl cream, which I'm sure you could use like anyone you like, as long as it doesn't have like alcohol, like no mousses, no gels. And this is still while your hair is pretty wet. This is Kerastase Curl Manifesto. I've enjoyed it. However, I will say, I hate microfiber towels. I feel like microfiber towels like pull on every little piece of dry skin. It makes me gag. This stuff smells like straight up Play-Doh. I enjoyed the smell of Play-Doh, but I did not expect that because everyone was like, oh my God, I love the smell of it, which is why I got it because I like when hair shit smells good. This is literally Play-Doh. I don't know if anyone's ever used it. So I don't know. I mean, it's worked nicely, but I think I'll definitely try a different curl cream next time because I don't want to smell like Play-Doh all day. And then the other thing I'm really liking, clearly because I'm almost out of it, is a hair oil. So what I'll do is once all my tangles are out, I'll rake through the curl cream, and then I'll apply the hair oil mostly to like my ends. And then I'll just sort of like rub it through. Sometimes I'll do like a tea tree scalp thing if I'm feeling fancy, because I do have a dry scalp. But yeah, this has been really nice. I would definitely recommend a hair oil. Just makes you feel fancy, you know? The worst thing about getting into hair care is it's so fragrance, and fragrances are such a migraine trigger for me. Ugh, that's how my mom is too. Hi, Victoria. Welcome. Yeah, so curl cream and the hair oil has been really, really nice. And then I air dry. I don't do a diffuser. I don't do anything like that. I feel like I'm pretty low maintenance even with all these different things I'm looking at right now. One thing I will do, because when I have longer hair, which I don't always, when I have longer hair, I put up the top half again in like a soft scrunchie, and that lets the bottom curls like form and dry without the top curls squishing them and weighing them down. So then you get a little extra volume, and then also like your roots are kind of up a little bit, so you get a little extra volume. It is kind of like a delicate balance, because you don't want to leave it up too long, because then the lengths of the hair look kind of weird. My hero Ethan will lose. Okay, this isn't like an anime. This is like real life and real people. You're being weird. Okay, so that is, let me see. Oh, the kind of brush I use a paddle brush. I just always have. I don't know if that's horrible for my hair, but it's the one brush that I've always liked. So I always have one around. Yeah, that's that. And then for skincare, it's even less crazy. And I will say these products are ones that I really, really love, and I will always have, unless something crazy happens. Okay, so I have dry skin. I was also raised in the era of St. Ives, the apricot scrub, when you would just like destroy 3 layers of skin, like sand them off with whatever was in there. Was it like pits of an apricot, right? Apricot spread. Apricot scrub. My girlfriend has super curly hair too, and this is fun for us to watch. Oh my God, hey! St. Ives, right? You would literally score your skin and then Noxzema alcohol pad in all your wounds. What were we doing? So because of St. Ives, yeah, the gentle exfoliating cream that scratches your face, I do still like kind of an aggressive scrub. Not that bad. Not with like huge chunks of like apricot pit, right? But because I have dry skin, I really like this one. It is rough. Like if you have really sensitive skin, it's probably not for you. It's a Cure brightening facial scrub. They always get me with that. And this has sea kelp and French green clay. So it's kind of like it's got clay, but also the scrubby minerals in it. And it's just, oh, I love the feeling of it. Maybe it's just, teenage me remembering, but I really like it. It does help. I have like dryness like here often, and then like my forehead, like between my eyes. So yeah, I really like to do that. And then sometimes I'll do this instead, or I'll do both. If I feel like I have a lot of built up dry skin, then I go in with this one. Fresh is like my favorite. It's not cheap. And yeah, it's my favorite, I guess skincare line, because I have the cleanser and I also have their little scrub. This shit smells exactly like strawberries. Smells like delicious strawberries, and I got a little in my mouth yesterday. It also tastes like strawberries. So it's legit. And it's also, this is another like exfoliator, but also a wash. I love that you have all the products on hand so we can see the packaging. Of course, I got you. And it's so pretty. I think this one, I don't remember where I saw this one. And then this is my favorite. The fresh cleanser, the soy face cleanser. When I tell you, it smells literally like cucumbers. Oh, I love it so much. Does anyone else use this? I just stand in the shower like this. Oh, it smells so good and it's so gentle. Oh my God. I love it. So this is the one. I mean, I wish this came with a pump on the top of it. I love that face wash for sure. And then the last thing I do is once I'm out of the shower, I put like a nice thick moisturizer on. I have two. One is the Clinique Redness Solutions, which I don't have here, but it's around. Do I have it here? No. That's one that I've tried. It doesn't really work for rosacea. Like I don't feel like it makes me any less red. This one I actually learned about from Hila, the Tatcha. This is the Dewy Skin Cream. There's like the water one that's like a lot lighter, but this one is thick like frosting. It's amazing. Oh, thanks for coming, Alex. Have fun. Yeah, so this one's really nice. Again, not cheap. Comes with this little pointless like spoon thing on top, which maybe if I was like a real skincare girly, I would use it. Listen, I think you can find similar things at the drugstore. I am easily influenced, I guess. I saw Hila using this and it looked so good. Has a nice, and almost smells a little like sunscreen, but it's the best moisturizer I've ever had. Like if you have dry skin, it's really great. Okay, I think that's it for that. There isn't over-the-counter stuff for rosacea. Yeah, exactly. Like they say it's going to help. And they do have like Clinique has it's like an SPF lotion, but that kind of just makes me look like blue almost. So I just stopped. I'm like, whatever, this is just my face. Question, are you in the H3 members Discord? I think so, but I never go in there. CeraVe. Ooh, esthetician. Hey, I have been loving CeraVe's Rough and Bumpy Skin lotion and body wash. They have been game changers for me. CeraVe is great. The Discord. I've been using CeraVe and Cetaphil almost exclusively. Yeah, they're great. They're awesome. Okay, do we think that we have bored the snarkers enough that we can actually start talking about H3? Yes, the salicylic acid is magic. Literally, like I usually have the keratosis pilaris, I think it's called, on my upper arms, and it's like genuinely almost gone. It's crazy. I've had it my whole life. Okay. Okay, here's something that I wanted to put to the crowd. Because I know that the CavCav website has had to come down, right? But I saw this on Reddit. And hang on one sec. Why is that being weird? Hang on. Why is this being dumb? All right, so I saw this on Reddit. And now it's being stupid. There we go. Okay, here we go. Yes, this is me. I've commented a few times. I also have an actual Girl with a Microphone account that I started a couple weeks ago. But as you know, you can't post an H3 if you're less than like 40 days old or whatever. So I'm just like waiting my turn. All right, so this says, I asked ChatGPT who has the best hairline on the show. And I just thought this was so fascinating that AB is first, then Zach, then Cam. Aw, Cam. I miss my old friend. Dan above Ethan is crazy. Dan has a mature but stable headline. I mean, yeah, I guess it doesn't change, right? Not a bad hairline, just higher and more mature looking, aka bald. Fits him well, but not as full as AB or Zach. I mean, it's all true. Ethan Klein openly jokes about his receding hairline. That is not true. Everyone else does. has acknowledged thinning and recession for years. That's honestly defamation. That is libel. And I think Ethan needs to open another lawsuit. Defamatory. Although not part of the guy hairline debate, Hila has excellent thick hair, often styled differently, but always looking strong. So yeah, so I'm like, what is this? Ethan is bottom of the barrel. Everyone has a better hairline than Ethan, apparently. So I was thinking, like, we have wiki feet, right? I feel like we need like a wiki hairline that we can totally, overrun. So I think that this should be Love's new project, is building, hairlineking.com or something. I just think that'd be a great idea. And then, because I think other people would get into it, because men are very sensitive about their hairlines, right? I think people will get into it. I think that they would like it. So that's a new idea. Yeah, we could have like a totally different war, get past the Hasan and Snarker stuff, and just get back to the stuff that matters. Hairlines. Who's baldest? But if it spills into women, it would be bad. Correct. Women are not allowed. We're not doing women's hairlines. Because I know poor Brittany Broski would get fucking roasted. Love you, girly. Love you. All right, so there's that. I wanted to talk about what happened yesterday, which is Ethan and Hila getting some hate for this post. It says, "We love America in this house." Also, they're just adding, oh, that's Ethan Klein updates. So this person is so obsessed. Like, so obsessed. He's posting, like, on everything, making up shit. Like, Ethan is just a conservative now. Why do you have to lie? Like, you can just disagree with someone without lying. There's a spectrum of politics. Like, I'm just so tired of, like, the black and white shit. And of course, Queen in Yellow is in here. Gato Fumador. 17 million Americans losing their health care, $150 billion to ICE. And this is what they're posting. That framing obviously makes it seem really callous, right? But Ethan has said a million times that he loves America and wants it to be better. Like, that's how he loves it, is trying to make it better. And he's in good company, because this is one of my favorite James Baldwin quotes. He was a black gay author living in the early 1900s. He was born in the 20s and grew up in Harlem throughout the, like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And he was brilliant. But he was also hopeful. Like, he was critical, but he was also hopeful. So I just loved this quote. And that picture really made me think about this. "I love America more than any other country in the world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. I think all theories are suspect, that the finest principles may have to be modified or may even be pulverized by the demands of life, and that one must find, therefore, one's own moral center and move through the world hoping that this center will guide one aright." I mean, to me, that is the opinion that Ethan has been trying to share about his feelings of this country. And I mean, I agree. I mean, this is like, it's like having a family member or a friend who you care about, but they keep fucking up. You know, do you just write them off, or do you have an intervention or sit down with them, or do you just like hope they'll get better and want more for them? Right? So that's what the post and the follow-up made me think of. Is like, even a black gay man growing up under insane oppression at a time when he was unwelcome in most spaces, right? For whichever piece of him, or all of the different intersections combined. whatever wasn't accepted, he still had optimism that we could be better and reserved the right to criticize the US while also loving it here, or loving the country. He did end up moving to Paris. I don't blame him. It was gay as hell back then. But I just don't think you need to equate loving America with conservatism, or even just liking it, or having things that you like about it, you know? So that I just wanted to share that, because that's always been helpful to me. Actually, there's another James Baldwin quote about hope, which I think y'all would like. Let me see. It was something about, like, I'm hopeful because what other choice do I have? It was something like that. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let's see if I can find it. All right, let me put my headphones on so I can hear it.
In despair about the world.
I know I've been in despair about the world. I'm enraged.
Enraged, all right.
I don't think I'm in despair. I can't afford despair. I can't tell my nephew, my niece. You can't tell them. You can't tell the children. There's no hope.
I can't afford despair. I love that.
God knows the handicaps and the hazards are very, very, very real and tremendous. But if we can get beyond the place where we are now, something very important may happen in the world. I believe that. I really do believe that we can all become better than we are. I know they can. But the price is enormous, and people are not yet willing to pay it.
Oof. The fact that that shit is still relevant. But yeah, that bit here, like, I think we can become better than we are. And I think that's what Ethan says a lot, right? That's how he feels. And I don't know. I'm just tired of the idea that you can't be progressive, you can't be even leftist without, like, all this anger and hatred. That does not feel, it doesn't feel sustainable to me, and it also doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to get anything done. So shout out James Baldwin, who's been super dead for a long time. But if you are interested in reading more of him, I highly recommend it. Even just watching more videos of him. He's just an amazing speaker and writer. It's the us against you. Yeah, it's like ContraPoints talked about it as campism. Like, it's not even tribalism, it's campism, where you are not allowed to disagree at all with anything or agree with the person on the other side. And that's what I've said too, is like, if these people didn't make every single thing that Ethan and Hila did the end of the world, if they didn't assign, malice to even the most innocuous things, they might be worth listening to. There might be points they have that might be worth taking in and thinking about. But because they make every single thing like the end of the world, you don't take them seriously. And this is what I mean by, like, their shit is not sustainable, and that's why they don't get things done, because they're just so antisocial about it. It's fucking crazy. So yeah. So that's that. I just thought a little James Baldwin would be nice for the night, because he gives me hope when I'm feeling less hopeful about things. Okay, let's now talk about Hasan and his luxury goods. And again, I'm not here to be like, oh, Hasan. I want to explain why people get like that, because I think it's kind of important to understand the way people react to you when you make yourself the arbiter of morality on a specific topic. So let's let's get into this. All right. So recently, I guess Hasan, I mean, I think he always gets some shit for enjoying luxury clothing brands, you know, and doing things that cost a lot of money because he's very wealthy, right? I am not saying that that is a bad thing. He obviously works very hard to get his money. Like the amount he streams is insane, right? And he clearly has potentially a good team behind him too, like getting all these articles landed, right? So I guess this is the first time I've seen him talking about like the fashion stuff. And I think it's interesting that he says no one is allowed to have any hobbies, when meanwhile he's been like, God, Ethan, get offline and hang out with your kids. You know? I don't know. No one's allowed to have any hobbies. Yeah, everything is like super critical, but you created that environment. But we'll get into it. So here's what he had to say.
Why is it that we are not allowed? Like, why is it that no one is allowed to have any hobbies beyond whatever your immediate fucking hobbies are?
Like, does anyone create more of a narrow idea of what you're allowed to do and not do, at least in the leftist space, than Hasan? Is anyone more critical of people's actions? Like, what are we talking about?
Imagine, yeah, that was Marlon.
Someone said, how is consumerism a hobby? I mean, if you're spending that much money, you're probably also spending a lot of time doing it. So I guess you can call it a hobby. Oh, I was going to do my nails. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but let's go.
Imagine if I was like, you come in here and you're like, oh, look at this Warhammer 40K figurine that I painted. And I'm like, fuck you, nerd. Fucking, you suck. I bet you smell bad. You know, every time you have like a little thing that you enjoy.
Okay. Well, I mean, right there's the false equivalence that a lot of people love, right? I don't think you can compare Warhammer to buying like luxury goods, right? And you know what? Be an overconsumption girly. I see that in the chat. We'll talk about why he gets shit for this.
Okay, and I was just like, fucking burn it with fire. Like, calm down, man.
It's crazy to me how he sees these like little comments and he just gets so upset by them. Okay.
And then every time we talk about anything that's not like immediately political, even though this one has a political slant associated with it as well, people will just like find a way to instantly write essays about how fashion is actually disgusting, it's exploitative, it ruins the planet. It's just like,
I mean, it's all true, especially all of the, and I love the vegan movement. Shout out vegans. But I saw something recently that was talking about all of the microplastics that are being put into the environment by like faux leather and like faux fur, because they have to make it, right? It's not, coming off an animal. So I guess it's like kind of a big deal, like how much like microplastic waste there is from fake fur products. But yeah, so yeah, it is to some degree ruining the planet. It's also such an elitist thing, right? Like there's so much that the proletariat, working class, cannot access. Right? Like they can't access the quality of clothing. Audio's low. Thank you. Okay, let me turn it up. Okay. How is it now?
The worst possible thing. It's expensive. It's garbage. It's like, I know, man. I know.
And yes, the hair routine and face routine did get dropped. I will chapter it.
Oh, I know.
Is this better volume?
I don't give a shit.
Okay, so he says, I know all of it. I don't give a shit, right? He knows everything is bad and he doesn't care. Okay, that's really good to know, because that's like a huge issue with the left, is that you have to be perfect, right? But now he's admitting that sometimes you just like problematic things. Everyone has things that are problematic that you like. I think some of us might consider the H3 show problematic sometimes, but we still like it, right? So that is nice that for himself, he believes that he's allowed to have hobbies that are problematic, and he doesn't give a shit what people say about it. But the problem is, it's not that you like these things, and it's not that you consume. At least to me, I don't give a shit, right? Like that is such a low level problem. But the reason people keep using it is because you have decided, or you've let other people coronate you as the arbiter of morality, the gatekeeper of leftism in online spaces, right? Like, if you don't agree with Hasan, according to online leftists, you are a conservative. Like, there are no more liberals, there are no more progressives. All of that is to the right of center, according to these people. And you get there one way is by disagreeing with Hasan. Nobody would care. Nobody would care, except for probably like the most dedicated Hasan haters, which are not only from the H3 audience, and probably most of them aren't. No one would care if you hadn't painted yourself into this corner where you are like the beacon of everything that is right and proper and pure about the left. That you're doing everything right. It makes you superhuman to people. And maybe that's like, that seems cool at first, but it seems like you're also learning that it comes with a pretty big downside. And so the reason people roast you about this is because they're sick of you being in this position. And they just want to skewer you and show you what a hypocrite you are. Because when you make yourself out to be the number one resource, the best, most all-knowing person with the best takes, when you criticize and abuse and shame people who disagree with you and malign them as things they aren't, you put yourself on a pedestal. You make yourself, whether you believe it or not, you have made yourself look infallible, flawless, incapable of disappointing people or taking a wrong step. Because all these people are looking up to you. But that comes with a lot of pressure, because the people that are looking up to you are also waiting for you to fuck up, because you being perfect inside makes them feel a little bit like shit. So when you curate an audience that is like dedicated to you being the best, the number one, anyone who disagrees with you is a piece of shit, you're building an audience that not only like abuses and shames other people for disagreeing with you, because that's what they watch you do for hours every day, but these people are also like on the very edge of doing the same thing to you, because that is the way that they have been socialized by you to interact on the internet. The audience that you cultivate treats people the way you treat them and the way you treat others in front of them. So, and I will say this, I'm not like Jordan Peterson where I'm like, oh, I hope it turns on you. I hope for your sake it doesn't. Like, I hope that they don't one day do the same purity test on you as they seem to do to other streamers, politicians, just random private citizens. Because I have a feeling that as soon as Zohran Mamdani wins, y'all are going to start hating him. Because that's what happened with AOC. That's what's happened with a bunch of progressives, right? Then they become libs because they're trying to like serve an entire population and not just what you think is right. And you can see the audience you've created and cultivated because your fans feel cool coming up to you and holding you accountable for drinking certain kinds of soda. So it's no wonder that people, either within your fan base or externally, roast you for all of the expensive shit you buy. You've created a culture where optics are more important than change, like substantive progress, right? It's more important to look like you support a cause than to do the hard, nuanced work, the compromising that comes along with actually getting somewhere. You guys just write that off as incrementalism, when that's literally how shit has happened here, like since the beginning. It has taken years and years and years of work. Yes, protesting. Yes, fighting back in a ton of different ways, but yes, also with legislation. Like it's both. So yeah, it smacks of hypocrisy when you wear the trappings of the bourgeoisie while letting people see you as some kind of communist icon. Like, it's no wonder that people skewer you for that. And a little note about communism. And I want to preface this by saying that I don't think communism on its face is evil in any way. I think that if the right people were doing it, it would be really cool. And I would love that. And I would definitely support it. But that's, to me, not the kind of communism that Hasan seems to be supporting lately. So I just want to tell you a little story. So this is my former professor, Da Chen. I can't believe I'm talking about him. I never thought that would happen. You'll see why I was looking up thumbs in just a second. So this is Da Chen. He died 6 years ago in LA. He was a memoirist, a novelist, and he grew up during the Cultural Revolution in China. At the time, he was a kid, like a little boy. His grandfather was wealthy, and he was a landowner, and he was a landlord. And the grandfather, this old man, was forced into a work camp, a re-education camp. And then when the grandfather got too frail, Da's father took over, and his father was brutally tortured and humiliated for being the son of a landowner. This is from his obituary. This is what his wife said. And I remember he told me this story in person, and cried, 50 years later, retelling it. He watched his father being hung up by his thumbs and beaten, and his grandfather stoned frequently with rocks thrown at him by children. Chen's wife said he would undergo a lot of humiliation parades where they would throw fruit and other things at him. Frequently, he was sent to labor camps as a little baby child, where he worked with people twice his age digging irrigation trenches in the mountains. And he was kicked out of school because he was the child of landowners. So on top of like the hypocrisy of enjoying the finer things in life, the violent version of communism you seem to be promoting with your guns and swords and the way you talk about things and the way you talk about people, and the need for them to not be alive anymore, it comes with that kind of violent communism comes with a target on your back. They're not just going to be coming for, if it were to be that way, which I don't think it would be, they wouldn't just be coming for the billionaires. Like this communist revolution you're fantasizing, you would be a victim of it. And it's not just you get put into a work camp and they take all your money. It's physical abuse, it's humiliation, it's psychological torture, it's your kids and your grandkids being shamed in the street and not being allowed to attend school. Like this, it's not just that you're promoting communism. You are specifically like idolizing Chinese communism and the Cultural Revolution, right? Like, do you know anyone who has survived the Cultural Revolution? Because I do. Do you know anyone that's been in work camps? Because I also do. I have other friends, multiple friends, whose parents were in the work camps as students, like as college students, because they believed in the mission, right? They believed in Mao. But as a result, I mean, there's so much generational trauma now that their kids carry. Immense generational trauma. So like I said, I'm not saying communism is evil, but people often are. People that are drawn to power often are. And any political system can become this way. I mean, we're seeing it right now with Trump, right? Fiscal conservatism can turn into kicking millions off healthcare and food stamps. It can happen to any political system. But specifically, the kind of communism that Hasan sometimes talks about is violent. And it would also target him. You're a landowner, you own your home, you have a lot of money, and you also have a lot of sway. And maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. But it just feels like you're gunning for, sorry for the pun, you're gunning for the kind of violent retribution against the people you disagree with, but that's never fixed anything. And also, you would also be a target. So, like, what are we even doing? Like, what are we pushing for? What are we advocating for all this violence for? What is it going to do? It's just going to traumatize generations of people. And I wish that weren't the case. I love when he calls Ethan out for living in a mansion as if he doesn't also live in a mansion. Yeah, like, and these are all terms that he has set, right? Like, Ethan doesn't care about money. Ethan used to own a fucking Rolls Royce. Like, he doesn't feel shame about his money. Like, these are terms that Hasan and his audience have set up, that you, like, the rich are evil and all of that shit. And yeah, a lot of rich people are, right? But I'm sure that his audience doesn't think Hasan is evil. I don't think Hasan is evil. I'm already traumatized by landlords. Yeah, I mean, landlords are horrific. They suck. And there should definitely not be landlords, but I don't necessarily think that corporate landlords can experience some consequences. The ones who buy up all the properties and drive up the rent in like an entire town or an entire city. The point isn't that rich people are inherently evil, but the systems that allow them to become rich are evil. 100,000%. Agreed. He doesn't hate all rich people. He's rich. He just thinks billionaires shouldn't exist. 100%. So do I. So does Elizabeth Warren, my favorite politician ever. They shouldn't exist. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to set yourself up as like the gateway drug to communism on Twitch, people are going to be critical of you when you step out of line. That's just how it is. So, I mean, he should kind of expect that, I feel. But I imagine it's overwhelming. I imagine it happens a lot, right? There isn't much difference between Hasan and an evangelical TV pastor. I have a hard time believing they are practicing what they're selling. It's the same kind of thing. The problem is he doesn't just think that. If I made $1 billion in profit, my first thought would be, oh crap, I made a payroll mistake. See, and I'm sitting here like, wow, I want to make a lot of money so I can like do nice things for people. That's my sister and I talk about that all the time. We're like, oh, if I just like had $100 on me right now and it wasn't like to get me through to the next week, I would just tip that guy $100. You know, I would just fucking spray money at people. That's absolutely what I would be doing. Oh, an animal sanctuary. Okay, everyone put in chat, what's a nice thing you would do if you became like 100 millionaire? I actually know, so I don't know why, but like talking about it does make me emotional. My good friend and I, my best friend, Sarah, have recently realized we have been dreaming about doing the same thing without talking to each other about it. She called me the other day and we were just chatting and I was like, well, what do you want to do next in your career? And she's like, honestly, I want to set up a trailer in a city and let homeless people, unhoused people, shower, get clean, have time to themselves, get services that they need. I was like, Sarah, I have been seeing that shit on Instagram too, and I want to do it. So if I became a millionaire overnight, I would move me and my friend somewhere great, potentially Philly, and set up a nonprofit and just fund the nonprofit with the money and do that. Because if you haven't seen it, like there's a couple accounts on Instagram of people that are doing this in different cities, and like they'll have barbers come or hairdressers come and different people, and I'm just like, oh my god, we can have like a community fridge. So I'm like thinking about all of this stuff that I would do if we had the money to do it. Buy my mom a house, that's a good one. Help disabled people. Self-publish a comic book, very cool. Oh no, what did I do? I am a minority as a gay woman. What did Sam say? Do I want to know? Do I want to know? It's all good. Why do you think Hasan is a communist but not a socialist? Why are people like drawing pictures of him like in communist fashion? Would he say he's not a communist? I will say again that I don't think communism is like a derogatory thing. I don't think calling someone a communist is not derogatory. So if you're like being defensive about that, you don't need to be. There's absolutely not a problem with being a communist. I from what I've heard of Hasan, what I've seen, what he reads, what he promotes, a lot of it seems communist. So I figured he had made the move even further left into communism. People conflate communism with socialism, and it's a meme in socialist communities. Okay. When talking to other communists, he says he is. What he preaches is communism. Yeah. She hasn't built her platform acting as though she cares about minorities. She literally does and has a perspective as she is one. I wasn't offended. Where is this person? I've asked her questions in DMs and she has responded kindly and thoroughly. She can speak for herself. Sam, what do you have something to say? You know what? Let me do this. Let me put Q&A here. Ask me all questions. And I will tell you, I don't know everything. And I might say, I don't know. Okay, all right, so does that work? Are you able to like ask a question, or let me know. Let me know if that works, y'all. You asked it already. Okay, I didn't see it. girly pop. I am bad at reading chat. I'm like, when I see like how into the chat Hasan is, like, I don't know how you do it. How do you do it? Okay, so there's that. That was just my little like side thing, because that piece of it is important to me, is like the audience that people create on the internet, and like what it means for like discourse in general. All right, next up we have the gun problem. So, where is the actual clip? Is this the one? Oh yeah, here it is. All right, so as we know, hang on, did the Q&A come in? Oh, give us the deets. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. All right, I will ignore chat. So before we get into the final little piece, like the piece that everyone wants to hear about, it's like so juicy. Hasan apparently like waved a gun around on Twitch and still like hasn't been reprimanded. Is that true? Has that changed? Let me just check Twitter really quick, because things happen so fast. Let's see, Hasan. Thank you for subscribing. Doesn't look like it. He's still not banned. Every snarker has fallen off or isn't relevant. Mods are doing amazing. Thank you, mods. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I strongly believe you're just another Hasan alarmist who doesn't understand his and his audience's views. I have become very familiar with his and his audience's views. Specifically today. Because as soon as Ethan shouted me out, I got a lot of Hasan's views in my inbox. And I think that I'm being very, very level-headed about this. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's evil. I don't disagree with the way I disagree with the way he moves. And as we'll see, I think he's become not just more extreme, but he's just become more like fragile in the last few years. Obviously, he's fucking waving a gun around to threaten someone. All right, so here it is. Here is the video. Okay. So this is Legal Mindset's take on it. Definitely watch the whole video if you'd like. I just pulled like a couple things, which is when it happened, and then a little bit more about. This actually might be the only clip I pulled from him, but let's see what happens here.
Write a petition? Let's do a crusade, he says. Let's do a fucking crusade, he says. Let's hang Hasan and Mamdani for treason, he says. The fuck are you gonna do?
Okay. Because I'm on Twitter, I didn't watch the video at first. I didn't realize how violent the threats were. So I understand why he's angry and upset. I understand that. But that is most definitely against Twitch terms of service, right? Like when Ethan gets worried and when people like threaten him physically, he says like, we have guns at the house. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't show them off, but he reminds people that he does appreciate the Second Amendment. So yeah, this was a lot. I guess like at first he like got up. Do they show it? Does he show it here? I think he got up to like go get it. So that's what happened. Hasan did that, and everyone's losing their mind because he hasn't been punished yet. Again, it's kind of similar to the fashion thing where everyone is waiting for him to fuck up, and then when he isn't reprimanded, obviously people get upset. When he isn't reprimanded for doing things that other people have done, Twitch looks hypocritical. He looks like he's their darling, right? And like he's got Dan Clancy in his little pocket. So he did that, and it turns out he was threatening the wrong person. He was threatening the wrong person, and here is that guy's response. This poor guy got like called ugly and stuff. So he says, damn, that's me. I definitely did not comment any of the messages he read, but thanks for calling me an ugly, skinny bitch, I guess. Like, okay. Ugly, skinny bitch. Horrible on a lot of fronts. He uses bitch and pussy a lot. And it's a lot more than he used to, which I will show you. But for now, let me see if we can watch the rest of this.
App, which we can do through the first link in the description.
This is the guy?
Okay, so he looks him up.
Now that I use Monday service.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Hang on. I know. I need to finally get the YouTube premium, y'all. I will do that. I promise I will. Okay, so then he doxes him. And it's not the right person.
Wait, this is the guy?
First thing we want to do is download the YouTube VPN app, which we can do through the first link in the.
So he's already laughing, and I'm like, okay, is he laughing at this guy's accent? It feels to me like he's laughing at the guy's accent, which, for starters, is fucked up. But maybe it's the way he looks. Also not a great thing to laugh at.
Description.
Then he picks up the gun.
What are you gonna do, bro?
And of course, I do like the pop-up there just explaining that this is clearly against their TOS. This is something that is not, holistically
Blah,
terms
blah, blah.
of.
Yeah, you want to listen to legal? Definitely go watch his stream. All right, so here he goes.
Go on a fishing expedition? Try to fucking put malware in my phone? Is that what you're gonna do?
Okay, so he's getting real paranoid. Everyone's like, put it down, put the gun down in his chat.
Skinny bitch.
And
Skinny
to be clear,
bitch. Skinny bitch. So yeah, he calls him an ugly skinny bitch. I mean, it should be pretty cut and dry that he gets some sort of a ban, even if it's not a real gun, right? Because it looks like a gun and that is enough, right? Like you can rob a house with a fake gun. Body shaming, there's also misogyny there. It's a lot of different things. So, I mean, it seems like he should definitely apologize, but it doesn't sound like that is something he is gonna do. Here he is talking about it. This was what, a few hours ago? Earlier today? All right. That was yesterday.
Is waving a gun around on Twitch considered a crime or breaking terms of service? This is not a real gun. Pussy.
Pussy. Like, I wasn't watching his streams back in the day, but the archive that I looked through today, he was a much more level-headed person than he is now. Like, just calling people pussy, I don't know. It's just his vibe is bad. And yeah, and this person's right. It doesn't matter if it's a real gun.
And not only that, but also,
if it's not a real gun, then why did you do that? That's like kind of silly, right? Because that was supposed to be like threatening. Like, oh, what are you going to do to me? And then you hold up an airsoft gun thinking they would know it was an airsoft gun. That doesn't make sense. You held that up wanting to look threatening. Like, let's be real. I just think he's so dishonest. He's just like, he's like protecting his image so hard that it just makes him look really like fragile, like brittle to me. To me, my opinion.
I like that this is the new meta. People are like, dude, I can't believe you were waving a gun around. Good luck, dude.
Wow, I can't believe. What do you mean? Like, that's a weird thing to do. Only like the craziest people on Twitch have done that. And they've gotten banned.
Guy comes in here, says, I'm going to assassinate you. I say, good luck.
With an airsoft gun. So was it a joke? Like, were you meaning to be threatening? Or is it a joke? And why would you joke in that situation? He's just like incapable of being like, yeah, I was scared. I was scared and I did something I shouldn't have done. In addition to waving a gun around, I also doxed an innocent private citizen and called him fucking skinny and ugly and a bitch.
And do this. And now the soy right is
The soy right.
fucking crying about it.
He's like so upset. I have noticed the little bit I've watched of him, he gets real fidgety when he gets upset. And like anxious.
Okay. Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck to what? What are you talking about? Also, does anyone know what he means when he says the soy right? He has like his own language that I don't understand. Well, okay, so he didn't traditionally dox him, but in Twitch's sense he did. What does that mean? So what information did he show? Anyone not as left as him is right wing. Okay, so soy right is like progressives and liberals. I have heard, and like I said when we were talking about communism, there's a weird thing with the left where they've decided that they control what the political spectrum is. And so they've now decided that center is right next to them. And that everybody else is on the right. Just because they're to the right of them. That they are literally the center of the universe, essentially. And anyone even a little to the right of them is a Republican, essentially. Oh, soy right is the right gets offended super easily. I see. How do y'all not know what soy right means? I'm like almost 40 years old and have a day job. I'm not constantly on the internet harassing people. I don't know. Holy liberal. Yeah, exactly. Liberals are the biggest problem there is. The right is the right and the left is the left. So where do Democrats fall? Frogan tests my feminism. I have some things I want to say but can't. I just hope Hasan continues to not pay her. Well, thank you for keeping it cool. All right, fair. Thank you, Popka, for being reasonable. Oh, they're not too bad. The snarkers, I mean, thank you to the mods, but I think, see, Popka, that's not true. The Dems don't fall on the right. I wonder where you've learned that. Like, there's literally a spectrum. Why does it have to be that the only people on the left are you guys? Why does that have to be true? Why does that have to matter? Oh my God, Roman Ski is in here. Hey girl, I see you on Twitter all the time in my comments. Yeah, shout out mods for sure. I love that you said the fat left. I know you mean the far left. The far left seems to say anyone to the right is far right, and the right calls anyone to the left of center far right. I am of the fat left, personally. Are Democrats the equivalent of liberals? Within the Democratic umbrella, there are liberals, progressives, there's even like moderates, which I would say that's mostly like centrist, right? And then there's like liberals, and leftists have always hated liberals, but now they're starting to like hate progressives too, which I think is so crazy. Because like you're just making your circle so small that how can you have any influence and actually make change happen? Democrats would be considered center over here in Europe. Yeah, I think that that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Center right to center left in the grand sense. I would agree with that that some Dems, Manchin, hello. There are some Dems that because they haven't like evolved with the times, they're like Republican light for sure. Because being on the left means you are a Marxist. That's not true. That's being a leftist. But on an actual like political spectrum, hang on, let me look this up. Look, this is in Britannica, so you know this shit is real. That's what we love here. We love a primary source. This is the left of center. This is the right. What you're saying is that this is the left and everything else is the right because it's right of you. It's like when people thought the earth was the center of the universe instead of the sun. This is leftist. This is leftist, but these people are still on the left. Democrats and Republicans fall in here. Then there's liberals, and then progressives are in here. This is where I would say I am. Sometimes here, depending on the issue. And then you have the far left, the leftists, the Marxists. I mean, this isn't. I'm not like making this up. This is Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah, you are the leftist you can be. Geocentrist chat, rise up. Oh God. So yeah, that's like I've started hearing like Democrats are like far right compared to what they were in the 60s. I'm like, that's not fucking true. Like, y'all need to chill out. I'm left as fuck. That's what's so funny. Me too. And that's what's annoying to me is like when people act like Hasan is the person who decides or like his orbit decides what's left and what's not. Like that's not the case. Like this is like pretty well established. Look, they spell center R-E. This is some British shit. You know, this has been around a long time. His community literally doesn't do that. I just had someone up above say that if you're not far left, you are on the right. I literally just had someone say that in chat. Literally just happened. Okay, let's go back to this and see if he says anything else. Honestly, I'm a very empathetic person. I don't call myself an empath because I feel like the only people I know who do that are crazy. But I don't like when people are upset or anxious, and I can feel him. I can feel his anxiety in this video. Trying to respond to this, trying to like say it the right way, trying to seem like he doesn't care, while also it is clearly bothering him. This is all in my opinion, of course.
What am I supposed to do if I'm the endless recipient of death threats?
I mean, it's valid to be frustrated by that. That's scary. It's scary. And you probably would have a lot in common with Ethan right now if you guys could stop beefing all the time. Because I know someone else who's getting tons of death threats. And who had skulls mailed to his house. You know? You're both getting it. Like do you guys know the phrase, the narcissism of small differences? The narcissism of small differences, and this is, I think, such a leftist, like a left of center's problem. The tendency for individuals or groups with many shared characteristics to focus on and exaggerate minor differences, leading to conflict, rivalry, or even hostility. Like in the most banal sense, it's like sports rivalries between cities or towns, right? Like, especially if they're right next door to each other. Like when I was in high school, we hated the team right across the border, and we were like literally all the same, like white middle class kids, right? I feel like what's happening between Hasan and Ethan is the narcissism of small differences, where They agree on just about everything. We and their audience agree on just about everything, right? But because there is like this animosity and this war, everyone is picking each other apart in order to seem like we're more different than we are. And Freud, problematic, right? Came up with a lot of shit that's since been debunked. But this is, to me, this is the biggest. This is a great thing that he came up with. The narcissism of small differences. I use it all the time. Literally, we all want an end to the genocide. I think most of us want a 2-state or a 1-state solution. We believe in Palestinian self-determination. Some of us want it to happen through diplomacy. Some of us want it to happen through a violent revolution, which is happening and not fucking working, in my opinion. Right? It's like we have different approaches, and maybe we blame different people in different measures, but we all want the same shit. But because we feel angry and desperate and scared, we pick at each other because we can get a reaction from each other. Do you see? Does that make sense? Okay, back to Hasan. Being very validly upset about death threats. Like that shit is scary. I might have told some of you were here for it, but Ethan is obviously a Zionist. That's not a fake divide. I don't think he denies that, but I think that Hasan and his audience has collapsed the idea of Zionism into one very, very, very specific definition. And I don't think everyone who considers themselves a Zionist believes that there needs to be like a violent control of Palestinians. Like the idea of Zionism, like I've seen a couple people give the exact same definition. Doesn't make sense to me, and it's not the way it is. I think Israel should exist, and I think Israel should expand and attack Palestine are two different positions. Yes, and I think a lot of people believe that Israel should exist because it does, not because they have this right to the land that outweighs the right of Palestinians. But like, we want to deal with the reality of the situation, right? Where Israelis are being painted as like a bunch of people from fucking Brooklyn that just moved there like 10 years ago. But there's like multiple generations now that live there. There's also Middle Eastern Jews who live there. Like these people don't have somewhere to go back to. And so what are we going to do with that? But it's like even admitting that means you like suck Israel's dick. It's crazy. The conversation just stops. It's a thought terminating cliche. Most, like Ethan said when he showed the stats about most Jews considering themselves Zionist, all they mean is Israel has a right to exist. It doesn't mean Palestine does not have a right to exist. It can mean a lot of things. Yes, of course, there are like extreme Zionists, like the fucking settlers in the West Bank who are nut jobs, who believe having a right to exist, like America thinking we have a right to exist means like destroying everybody else, right? But that's not, you can't collapse an entire culture across so many different countries and also so many different traditions of Judaism. Like you can't collapse all that down into just like the uber Orthodox settlers. Because it's not even about religion. They're just like fucking bloodthirsty. You know? Being in the development and the protection of Israel is literally being a Zionist. Oh, believing in the development and protection of Israel. So people who have family in Israel, people who live in Israel, what should they believe as Israelis? You don't have to defend genocide to be a Zionist. Right. A Zionist, I mean, the broadest definition is that you believe that Israel has a right to exist. There is a much narrower definition that is being used now by leftists where that right to exist categorically means that you believe that Israel is allowed to expand and kill anybody in the way. But like those aren't the same things. Why can't the snarkers in chat be funny? Like it's not hard. Oh, that would be asking too much, I think. And the thing is, like, I understand taking yourself very, very seriously, right? Like, I don't want to assume people's age, but I remember feeling that way. And it's exhausting. But I also understand it because right now is a really scary time and no one wants to look back or be known in the history books as being a Nazi, right? Like that's the thing I hear a lot of leftists saying is like, if you wondered what you would have done during the Holocaust, it's happening right now, right? So I think a lot of it is obviously like empathy and concern about the people in Gaza, right? But I think there is also an element of I don't want to be seen as having any association with this because I don't want to be remembered as a Nazi. Like there's a piece of it that's like, what will my personal legacy be? And I think, and I'm not saying this happens with everyone, but I think that does lead to some performative stuff because they want to do it publicly. They want to be known as like, I was against this from the beginning, right? Hang on, what poll? Are you saying young people aren't funny? Ageist. Listen, comedy is, what is it, trauma plus time? It's not that that young people won't be funny one day. They just haven't been traumatized enough. I love that they say Israelis and Jews are just white settlers, but also we're calling everyone Nazis because it's the worst thing they can think of. Yeah, their metaphors are a little mixed. Okay, let's see what else Hasan has to say here.
I can't even have a little bit of fun with it.
I can't even have a little bit of fun. I don't think you were having fun. To me, it looked like you were feeling threatened. Which, if someone said they were going to hang me, I would feel that way too.
Every single person that masturbated when Moist Critical did the exact same thing.
Okay, so I guess Moist Critical showed off a gun. Was that a real gun? And did he get banned for it? Do y'all know?
Okay. Is now going, this guy needs to be banned immediately. Post haste, please.
I don't really care. I don't really care about the ban stuff. And I think that feeding into like the outrage of like, oh, he made a mistake. That's like so snarker brained to me. Like, I don't want it happening to Ethan. I don't want it happening to Hasan. I don't want it happening to anyone. I think it's stupid. I think it's pointless. And it's just stan culture. It's stan culture. And I'm just not a fan of that. Was he threatening or showing a gun? I think he showed the gun, right? But it wasn't a threat? I know, I hate the okay. Critical only did it on YouTube, but Hasan literally did it for shits and giggles, especially because his fans make edits of him. Hasan was quite literally aura farming and taking the piss. I think that's revisionist, if I'm honest with you, Pilo Milo. That reminds me of Philo Pilo from Parks and Rec. I think that's a spin. I think that's a spin that he is happy people are going with. He did not seem to be joking. Like, and I'm not saying he was like, I'm gonna unalive you, right? That's not what he was doing, but it did seem to be like a show of like force in a slight degree to me. That's what it seemed like to me. Like, oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Good luck, buddy. Pussy, skinny ass, pussy ass bitch. Like, I don't think he was like, and now I'm going to Aura Farm. When someone said they were going to hang him. Maybe he is that calculated. I don't know. But that seems like a stretch to me. That seems like a spin. Revisionist history.
You should keep it in frame. I do.
Hasan's like, I keep that thing on me. I'm hard.
Here you go.
I don't know, guys. But maybe I just don't think he's funny. Like, to me, I don't think he's amusing. So maybe that's funny stuff to you guys. He just seemed like he was pissed off at that person and wanted to intimidate him. Yeah, aura farming. These are terms that, like, I just barely know, okay? Philo-pilo. 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 Who was it? Was it Tom that ended up being called Philo-pilo? Yeah, it's like middle school, right? Aura farming. Anyway, shout out Philo-pilo for hanging in. You have stamina, and I mean, I hope you're not being. I'm assuming if you're still here, you're being respectful. So shout out Philo-pilo, everyone. Philo-pilo's in the chat. Philo-pilo's in the chat. Okay, so to me, that doesn't seem like Hasan is interested in apologizing, right? But what happens if he doesn't? Is anything gonna happen? Is he gonna be punished in any way? Like, I also don't understand, like, why it would be so bad if he got a 24-hour ban. Like, what does he lose really if Twitch decides to, like, stick to their terms of service and not open a new precedent, a new dangerous precedent of, like, you can wave a realistic looking gun whenever you want? What would he lose in a day? Probably not much. And you know what? His waiting room might actually get a little extra cash. That might be nice. Philo-pilo. I'm just here to engage with anti-Hasaners because I'm not interested in being in a Hasan glazing echo chamber. Shout out, but like legit shout out for that, Philo-pilo. I love that about you. Everyone say I love Philo-pilo. Philo-pilo. Yeah, this is very, very bad for Twitch. That's essentially what Legal Mindset said. And I do recommend watching his whole video. Also, Legal Mindset is one of the lawyers that Hasan sort of alluded to being in Ethan's pocket. He's a pro-Ethan lawyer, which is like it's an insane thing to say. Okay, so Legal Mindset said, if Twitch fails to act on this, if they don't act on it strongly, not just that if they don't act on it, they open the door to a host of issues, legal and non-legal. First of all, shout out. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, like, shout out to the fucking potato screenshot. Okay, that's better. A host of issues, legal and non-legal. I mean, you can see how it would happen because the next person who does it can just say, well, Hasan didn't get banned, so why should I? And I see people saying, apparently Destiny has a son. I don't know anything about this dude, but his son did it and got banned. So, like, could he get back on Twitch now? I just wonder why there wasn't just an immediate ban. I don't understand why there's a fear. It's not like Hasan is going to leave Twitch if he's banned for a day. He'll just come back and everyone will be like, let's fucking go. Guns everywhere. You know, like, everyone will be so excited. So, like, oh shit. So, like, I don't understand why like a 24-hour ban is a big deal. Like, just like take your dog for a walk, maybe go to the beach. Just do something fun with your day, you know? It's not bannable to show a gun on Twitch. I mean, a lot of people are saying it is. Okay. Let's get into the stuff that I was gifted this week. I think that's why some of you are here. So into my direct messages on Twitter fell a little gifty. It turned out to be an archive of Hasan's tweets dating back to like 2016. And I was sent this archive, I guess because I posted stuff about like being critical of Hasan. I asked a lot of questions about it. It's a public resource that multiple people have used. And I was told that this would be like some compendium of misogyny, of more recent misogyny than, you know, the Ethan bit about the marathon bomber victim, which I do not agree with. I think it was fucking dumb and disgusting. But I found something more interesting. Honestly, I think in my estimation, he seems to have at least, he seems to be more sexist in his language than he was back then. I don't know what he was doing in his free time, and I obviously wasn't watching his streams, and this is just tweets. But in like 2016, and as far as I got, because I was like, oh, this is boring. It wasn't as like aggressive and mean as he is now. And that just made me wonder, like, what has happened? I mean, is he just like jaded, or I don't know. So this is what I said about it, and then we'll look at him. It was billed to me as him being incredibly sexist, but I found something more interesting. He used to make sense in that he said some pretty obvious stuff about politics. He wasn't like changing the world. He said stuff that I agreed with and still agree with, right? But he wasn't saying it in like a shitty way. So I understand why people listened to him then, and have stuck around. You do see him a little bit trying to like actively convert neo-Nazis into being communists and anarchists specifically. And so we'll look at that. And he admits that there are like a ton of similarities between being a neo-Nazi and being a communist, because all of them hate liberals. Yes, thank you. And for all of his work to push other people further left, it seems like he also got pushed further left. Like he pushed himself or was pushed by others. It's like he radicalized himself, and you can kind of see it if you compare these older tweets to the stuff he's doing now, like talking to terrorists, promoting terrorist videos, you know, the stuff that's like insane. That like a normal person who isn't terminally online would have a problem with. He calls out people who have become worse than SJWs. And you'll see that it's the way he criticizes people and how they like attack others on the internet is like literally how a lot of his audience is now. Not you, Philo. Philo's cool. If Philo is still here, unless he's not cool, unless Philo did something, and then bad Philo. And I just wonder, like, what would 2018 Hasan think of 2025 Hasan? Is that where he wanted to be? Is that where he wanted to go? Would he recognize him? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Someone like Hasan might assert that, you know, they don't even recognize him. Philo. He's a frat bro, Philo. I love that you're Philo now. Okay. What else? He talks a lot about anti-Semitism, which is great. Specifically tied to the like PewDiePie stuff that was happening back then. And I mean, I cynically wonder, like, was it? I don't think that Hasan is anti-Semitic. I know that Ethan would disagree with that, right? I think he might not. I think he might not understand the degree to which his words and his choices are being hitchhiked on by anti-Semites. Or maybe that's me thinking that he's not smart enough to know. I don't know. I mean, the Nazi sword is a choice. Like, how specific do we have to be? Like, how explicit? How explicit does the anti-Semitism have to be, I guess? I don't know. He's clearly more aggressive now, Philo. Yeah, Philo, get with the picture. Yeah, he might not be anti-Semitic, but now he does not talk about it because again, he has helped cultivate this audience on the left where you cannot talk about two things. It's a zero-sum game. So if you talk about anti-Semitism, you hate Palestinians, you want them all to die. You want Israel to take over the whole Middle East, right? If you think anti-Semitism is real, right? If you take any time out of your day to center it even a little bit and have concern about it, and the way that the leftist movement is being hijacked by anti-Semitism. So, like, again, it's just like collapsing this spectrum, this huge issue into such a narrow place, and that feels comfortable to people, right? Like, I know what the right answer is, I know what the wrong answer is, but as you get older, you realize that the truth is somewhere in the middle. So, without further ado, this is what I found. Honestly, pretty boring guy. Like, I wouldn't say that what I have been given is some sort of like a gotcha, but like I saw some interesting patterns that are, to me, were much more interesting than, oh, look, he's being sexist. There he's being sexist again. I mean, this one's gross. Yo, Ivanka Trump looks hotter every day. What the fuck is wrong with me? That was during the RNC in 2016. He does a lot of workout posts, it seems. A lot of Instagram posts of him at Equinox, the gym. This is interesting. So he's talking about Turkey here. Trump's rise to power is very similar to Erdogan's, so Americans have that to look forward to. So, like, you understood in 2016 that Trump was dangerous. Wait till the democratically elected government tries to launch their own version of the caliphate while lining their pockets. Literally what's happening right now, right? Democratically elected government that commits election fraud, frequent human rights abuses, and eradicated freedom of press. Literally everything that's happening. So why? If he knew this in 2016 and he was able to tie this to his own understanding of Turkish politics and how bad it could be, why on earth would he say, we have no idea if Kamala wouldn't be the same? Why on earth would he do that? It's just factually false because we had already seen how bad Trump was. We already had 4 years of evidence. So, like, to me, this feels like an authentic person. This feels like someone who has beliefs that are rooted in truth, in history. Talking about Turkey, right? The whole, I don't know if Kamala would be better. That feels like a put on for his audience because he didn't want to get slammed for voting for her. Because he knows how toxic they can be. And he doesn't want to lose his foothold, in my opinion. Okay, so here is, this is 2018. Thank you for subscribing. Y'all keep asking me to run. Here's my platform. Abolish private meme pages. Fortnite dubs correspond to GPA IQ. This is the one. Or the last two. Everyone gets a girlfriend. And classless society without racism. I decide which racial jokes are funny. On the edge of a joke, right? But everyone gets a girlfriend to me is very interesting because I think there are a lot of men that no matter how liberal, progressive, leftist they are, to some degree, they think that the solution to the male loneliness epidemic is not men fixing themselves. It's women lowering their standards and dating people who hate them, right? Everyone gets a girlfriend. And then all the men will be happy and they'll stop killing people. I wonder what women do when they're unhappy. Probably talk to their friends, right? I can take these off now. Let's see. Okay, this was interesting. The beginning of a beautiful friendship. So this is in 2018. I think this is at Politicon. So wonderful to finally meet Hasan the Hun. Obviously, this is Frogan. She looks so different. I can't figure out what looks different about her. I mean, maybe she just wears like a lot more makeup now. Or maybe you just can't see how blue her eyes are. Like I would not have been like, that's Frogan. Except for like her very specific hijab with like the stripes. She was so happy. She looks so happy to meet him, right? Yeah, the lighting is weird. Yeah, I think y'all are right about that. Lip filler, maybe. We won't speculate on bodies, but maybe that's it. Hopefully next you can actually debate somebody that can answer questions and not interrupt you every 3 seconds. So she was already a fan, right? And honestly, based on most of his takes, yeah, sure. He's saying the right things. You guys know me. I don't really go to men for my politics, but I mean, it's whatever. Okay, now we have Frogan again. First in line to meet Hasan. Huge fan. I'm sure being a moderator for him was like so important to her and so exciting. Let me move this down here so y'all can actually see each other's chat. So yeah, this was all in 2018. First in line, baby. Love that for you, Frogan. Okay, I just love this because oof, things that didn't age well, that he loved Elon Musk. But at the time, Elon Musk wasn't a terrible guy. It didn't seem like. But he is already like talking about the First Amendment and his tweeting. Like, so even back in 2018, Musk was kind of obsessed with making Twitter just like a total Nazi cesspool, apparently. I urge all. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so this was I think this is the first post here. Okay, this is the courting neo-Nazis to become communists, which is so interesting because for some reason the left refuses to interface with liberals or progressives. The leftists refuse to interface with progressives and liberals. They're seen as just like centrist shills, not worth converting, not worth being friends with. They're the scum of the earth. However, neo-Nazis, can I tell you about my Lord and Savior, Karl Marx? Like, why are you going after them? Philo, Hasan is literally a grifter, Philo. Okay, I don't agree with that. But maybe, who knows? I urge all the edgelords in Menchies, oh my God, that's so cringe, mentions, experimenting with Nazi baby shit to dive into anarchism and communism. It's still somewhat radical. So he's recognizing that these little baby neo-Nazis want to destroy things, right? But way more productive and doesn't center around being deeply afraid of a group of individuals. Well, see, Hasan, that's why they are neo-Nazis. They're not interested in being productive. They're interested in hating people. And if you convince them to be communists, then you're just going to have a bunch of racist communists. So this is his second part. There's plenty of cool uniforms, mysticism, symbolism, outsized focus on the geopolitical interests of a region that you'll likely never visit. Israel, Palestine? Why is that so specific? Is he talking about China or Russia here or somewhere else? But this is so spot on to what he is pumping out now, right? And if you go far enough down the rabbit hole, there's some historical revisionism too. Don't we love that, folks? It's also revisionist history, not historical revisionism, bro. Oh, and owning the libs, of course. And then shut the fuck up, liberal. So it's like Democrats are less worthy of an alliance, of community building, I don't even know the phrase I'm thinking of, but yeah, so they're less worthy of an outreached hand than neo-Nazis because communists hate everything. Like that seems like a pretty reductive idea of what communism is. Okay. A lot of anti-SJW YouTube. So back then that was like right wingers, and it's, you know, that was the stuff that Ethan sort of tipped into, but then changed his mind and changed his audience. Majority women, shout out. They've essentially become much bigger crybabies than the SJWs they started out shitting on. So he's calling SJWs crybabies here. And at the time, most of the SJWs that were being criticized were women. So this one felt a little bit misogynist to me. Being like, you're almost as bad as those girls that you make fun of. Crying about media left and right. Now this is interesting. He's talking about anti-SJW YouTubers, so like right-wing people, becoming huge crybabies. Now look at these. Crying about media left and right, misrepresenting claims, coordinated attacks. Are we seeing this anywhere else right now? Who might Hasan think is a huge crybaby now? Would it be some people in his audience? The live stream, are we still in 2018? I think we're still in 2018. Yeah, this is all 2018. The live stream, PewDiePie defended. This is where he really gets into like the anti-PewDiePie stuff, and for good reason. A couple weeks ago, for hosting controversial hosts, showed a lot of tolerance on the subject. I get it. It's a live stream. People love to be edgy and shit. Just know the company you keep and what side of history you're on. So he's criticizing PewDiePie defending a specific live stream where Nazis were being platformed, essentially. And they were, the hosts were, I guess PewDiePie was showing tolerance to these people. Meanwhile, I mean, he's literally playing like terrorist propaganda on his channel. I feel like that's being pretty tolerant of people who should not be platformed. And also that's the Houthis, Hezbollah, that's not left wing. They're not left wing. They are fucking right wing, bro. They are closer to Nazis than everyone calling than Ethan Klein is, essentially, right? Because now anyone who is like thinks Israel should like be allowed to exist is a Nazi, but it's like, you guys, the closest thing to Nazis are the fucking right-wing terrorists with death to all Jews on their shit. That doesn't mean that there isn't a genocide happening. That doesn't mean that people aren't being treated horrendously. But the actual, like, if we're going by like the political structure, it's not Nazism. In the end of the day, I get wanting to be edgy and I get being imperfect, but using your followers to go out and do your bidding. I have definitely said that about Hasan before. I think he is a bully by proxy. I think without saying it, people do his bidding. And he tacitly approves by giving them shouts out, playing their videos. It's like a positive reinforcement situation, in my opinion. Using your followers to go out and do your bidding after misrepresenting the claims really is no different than what you accuse Wall Street Journal of doing, isn't it? I mean, that's textbook what's happening right now in his community. Going out and doing his bidding and misrepresenting claims, specifically in this case about Ethan. But it feels like they've done it in the past about other people because, like, the amount of wild shit I just hear about Destiny, who I've never watched for a second. It's like that's like the last target that they're still like getting all of the programming out of their system about how much they hate him and what a scumbag he is. Here goes PewDie. He's talking about PewDiePie again. I'm sure feeling like you're under the crosshairs is terrible, but for someone who claims to be misrepresented, you sure misrepresented a lot of the claims made. Again, Hasan always talking about how he's been taken out of context, but then turns around and watches videos of Ethan that are like 3 layers of commentary deep and clipped, right? You can't ever watch like the actual source material. I didn't read all the articles, but I'm fairly certain most people were pointing out how irresponsible. I mean, it's all good. I'm used to it. But really, reconsider what side you are on the free speech debate when you're mad that I pointed out that the most famous person on the planet among 12-year-olds is hyping up a channel where the creator deliberately includes Hitler speeches. Guys, like, I like hate... Guys, I like humor and hate content policing, but the dude I specifically mentioned isn't even hiding that he's fash. The amount of backlash I've received as a mid-tier content creator, oh, he's mid-tier in 2018, for saying I like your content, please don't hype up a Nazi is insane. That's kind of like what Ethan was saying to you, right? It was like, hey, we're friends. Can you like moderate your chat a little bit? And he got a lot of hate for that from your audience. This was also interesting that he called some leftists killjoys, which I don't know if he would do that now. Maybe he does still poke fun at them. Merry Christmas to my hardworking mods who are not cops and also not paid. Maybe they were back then. Who knows? Some people are weirded out by this, but I'd rather be upfront with you and tell you my ideological leanings and personal political philosophies rather than act like I'm some enlightened dipshit who's above it all when no one actually is. They're all lying to you. So if people act like they are an enlightened person who knows everything and who's above it all, they're lying. That feels prophetic to me. That was the one where I was like, would 2018 Hasan be proud of 2025 Hasan? Because I feel like he's falling into this category of like, because he's gotten so famous, he's seen as infallible and that everyone is listening to him and whatever he says, that is the truth. Right? But 6-7 years ago, he understood that no one is above it all. And that if anyone who acts like they are is lying. 2019, we were almost saved. For a moment, January 1st, he said, Twitch broke my brain. I need to stop. Maybe this is when the switch happened. Maybe January 1st, 2019, his brain finally broke. And he was like, you know what? I want to watch a very musical people sing about how much they hate Jews. This is interesting too. Very cool. We had a 40-minute derailed conversation about the evils of the USSR when I don't support it. Which, that's definitely changed, right? I feel like he's like full tanky now. With a Holocaust denier who called Christchurch inevitable. I think that was the shooting in New Zealand because of diversity. Yes, I'm the bad guy. You are all right. So he's mad apparently about a debate. But like he defends Russia over Ukraine, which to me, if he wants Russia to like annex a little bit of Ukraine to stop them from being bullies, which I don't think would happen, that's like starting to rebuild the USSR, right? Feels like you do support it now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like he has moved even further left than he already was. Because I agree with this person. I agree with this person for the most part. There's also another trend of his, like, I don't know if it's body issues, a little body dysmorphia, right? Which I kind of noticed during Leftovers on like the rare episodes I watched where like he's very, very conscious of his food and his body fat and all that stuff. So he said, excited to not be at Coachella because I don't have the fits nor the body fat percentage this year. Like, this feels like the himbo behavior that we hear from a lot. But there's a lot of this. There's a lot of like talking about his body, which I thought was interesting because you don't see that a lot with men. This is funny. There's nothing wrong with the way I dress. Ladies, look away from this slander. Why did you have to attack me like this? So apparently people said he dresses like Gonzo. I mean, don't disrespect Gonzo like that. This was also interesting. 2019, he shared this. Centrist podcast host starter pack. And there's Ethan. What does that mean? So back in 2019, he considered Ethan on the same level as Joe Rogan and I believe, is that Dave Rubin? The gay guy? This is so interesting to me because I didn't even know if H3 was on his radar at that point. Isn't that weird? Maybe it was during the Peterson thing because he has like the different guests that they have on. There's PewDiePie who was on H3. There's Jordan. There might be some more that they had on. I don't know why. Is that fucking Eddie Izzard? Or who is that? Looks like Eddie Izzard a little bit. Dave Rubin. Really weird comparison, right? Might have still been when Ethan was making fun of SJWs. I don't think that... Did they have the podcast then? Oh, that's interesting. When was his interview with H3? H3 podcast, Hasan Piker interview. Because this was posted in like 2019, I believe. No, we don't want the... Okay, Hasan Piker. This is 4 years ago, so 2021.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain.
Sorry, y'all. August 17th, 2020. So a year later, he interviews... H3 interviewed Hasan. I just want to show you. He looks so little there. Like a skinny little guy. So this is in 2020. Okay, that's interesting. So, like a year before that, he was being critical of Ethan as a centrist. I don't think that they were still doing SJW shit in 2019. Yeah, he was moving away from it before that. Don't hate me, but I didn't like the podcast at that time. Ethan is a much better interviewer now. 100%. I think he believes that too. Ethan's always been left, right, but there was a time when he was kind of taking the bait on these like SJWs or whatever you want to call them, of people that were, you know, again, hitchhiking on the movement of accountability culture, and were just like really probably had personality disorders, right? They were not a good face for the movement for like equity and liberation, that's for sure. Thank you for subscribing, Lauren. So yeah, I found that really interesting. That less than a little over a year later, he went on the podcast. Was he trying to reach the like male audience? Because he talked about how sometimes he'll act less extreme than he is to try to court a young male audience, right? Hasan wanted to be on the pod in 2018. Interesting. Very interesting. What's Philo doing now? He was simply criticizing Ethan. Oh, yeah. I'm not mad at him for this. Like, I was not watching the podcast at this time. This is when I was on a break from H3 because of the way he was talking about progressives, just poking fun at them, which I think, he was still a Democrat, right? But he was just sort of stuck in the loop there. This was so this is another one about like his body. Every time people post old shirtless selfies of me, I get sad because my body fat is way higher now. Hasan, you should be nicer to yourself. I think a lot of people still think you're really hot. This one I also found interesting. I found all of them interesting. I own him to being a jump off point for many creators to the left of me. So he's saying like he's like the on-ramp to more extreme leftism in his mind, even in 2019. I don't mind this. People like Ben Shapiro act like they're not doing the same for the alt-right, and it's honestly hilarious. So by 2019, he has like fully embraced the fact that he is like the gateway drug to leftism and like more extreme politics. Radical leftism, as they say. This is crazy to me. He says, after I looked a bit deeper into this, I was shocked that we already criminalize pregnancies and charge women for having miscarriages. Aside from the most common ways of disenfranchisement, I've been writing about reproductive justice for years, and I had no idea. Brother, why were you writing about reproductive justice then? Who was having you write about reproductive justice if you didn't understand how women were being criminalized? Like, what? Why wasn't a woman in that role? I don't believe that. Yeah, that's like, who was he writing about reproductive justice for? Like TYT? I'm only an H3 watcher in the past year since I saw him go after someone on Hila's behalf and I fell in love. He goes hard for Hila, and it is a beautiful thing. I thoroughly enjoy this and support the petty drama. When people go low, you go lower while laughing. Glue, Guns, and Roses, you have so much fun stuff to catch up on if you go back to like old episodes. It's just a treasure trove, honestly. But yeah, like what? Writing about reproductive justice for years, A, where, and B, why didn't you do your research, bro? This is when we think about like pseudo-intellectualism, right? Like, yeah, I knew enough about it to be like, abortions are cool. But, I didn't really understand the actual like legal underpinnings of it. These are the guys who say talking about abortion as Democrats is identity politics. This is like Bernie bro shit from back in 2019. When guys would be like, the Democrats shouldn't be talking about abortion. That's a identity politics. It's like, it's an economic issue for fucking half the population. Just because it doesn't impact you doesn't mean it's like a fringe issue. So the fact that Hasan potentially was like arrogant enough to be writing about reproductive justice and not fully understand that it was like an economic issue and a way to control women financially and criminally. Who was reading his shit? They were getting the wrong story. Kind of weird. Oh, this one just pissed me off. Kind of weird how numerous candidates refer to Bernie by name when talking about his progressive policies, and they're expressing support for it. And yet the New York Times Daily basically thanked Warren for pushing the convo left. They both did. When I tell you this zero-sum game shit almost killed me in 2019. Like, I was an Elizabeth Warren volunteer, and I was hardcore. Like, I was one of like the texters, and I loved it. I had so much fun. But this shit, talking to Bernie supporters, was like worse than talking to Republicans, because they refused to think that Warren had any ideas of her own. She stole them all from Bernie. It's fucking stupid, man. They both pushed the conversation left. Having both of them was a good thing. Even as Hasan and his ilk were just like wringing her out for everything. Meanwhile, she like actually had a plan like written down with facts and figures and like timelines. Anyway, I digress. Every candidate is trying to LARP as a Marxist revolutionary, which is good since it means they understand that Americans are looking for systemic change. But it also saturates Bernie's message and Warren's. I'm not so sure others can or want to follow through on leftist promises. Well, of course they don't. I mean, is this him just like pretending he doesn't know, or has he not become totally jaded yet? Tie-dye is making a comeback and the style is becoming easier on the eyes. And Hasan says, and people claim my style is whack. Love that was happening even back then. I didn't realize that wasn't like a new thing. It's much easier to just say, oh, Biden's not progressive enough. How privileged, than to listen to why I prefer a candidate over others, or why I'm losing complete faith in everything and getting on the verge of joining the 100 million non-voters. So even back in 2019, Hasan was like tacitly promoting the idea of not voting out of frustration. And I hate that, because even then he had a big impact on young men who have since just become more and more disenfranchised because of people like Hasan, in my opinion. I'm not calling for a revolution or whatever. I feel like you are now. I just literally want healthcare for everyone, free college, and an opportunity to restore dignity to the American working class, whose brains are now fried from being denied proper representation and complete institutional collapse. Totally agree. 100% agree with all of that. That is not all you want now. Now you want like death to the West, I believe, in your own words. Now it's like so much more about like international problems and like geopolitics that like the shit happening here doesn't seem to be as important to you. And then the last one, ice cream sandwiches are my biggest vice. I feel like that's like so sad. I just feel like that's so sad. Again, like that's kind of like the body stuff. Like your biggest vice is a fucking ice cream sandwich. Like, are we talking you like eat the whole box if it's in your fridge? I feel like there's a disordered eating kind of thing potentially happening. I don't want to diagnose people, but he focuses a lot on his body. So yeah, so honestly, like I went into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to find so much sexism and like, yeah. And then I realized like, no, Kate, you're like, I believe this was sent to me in that spirit. Like, oh, this girl's starting to get a little attention. Let's give her this and she'll expose Hasan for being a sexist, right? But I felt, as I was looking through this stuff, I felt like, I think we all have a little bit of a smarker brain, right? And I could feel that, like, as I was looking through tweets, I was like, well, I could talk about that one in this sense. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make shit up. I don't want to give extra gravity and weight to things that don't need it. Right? So I was like, if it's not like blatantly sexist, I'm not sharing it. But I'm still glad that I went through it, because I saw like all these other little patterns about like how he used to think and talk, and just like how different he is now. Like we saw nothing in there makes me think that, 5 or 6 or 7 years from then, he would end up like waving a gun at someone and calling him like a skinny, ugly bitch. Like, first of all, that is such like a middle school girl insult. You fucking ugly bitch. Thank you, Philo. Thank you, Philo. And thank you for being nice enough that the mods didn't have to kick you out. I'm sorry that people think you're boring. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, wow, he's just changed a lot. He, from like this guy who's like, I just want free healthcare, guys. And maybe that was an act, right? Like maybe he was already doing the pipeline stuff of like just seeming more palatable and then like pulling people in. I don't know, because I wasn't watching him do anything else. But I will say, if we want to talk about like the toxic masculinity shit, that is like, I feel like it's light years worse now. Thank you for subscribing. At least from the tweets I saw from like 2016 to 2019, which I thought was going to be like all the edgelord shit. Now with him calling people a pussy, calling people bitch made, like just using all of these like totally gendered sexist terms all the time, specifically to insult men. And then the gun waving thing, and then like the traumatized hostages being released and like being made to kiss the Hamas soldiers, and he was like, no homo. Like, I feel like he's more fratty now than maybe even when he was doing bro tips. It's just like, it just feels a lot more toxic than what I was actually able to see. So yeah, it seems like he's gone further left, which is not always bad, but he's also, to me, more of an accelerationist and more misogynistic now. And I don't know his lore well enough to know like when or why this happened, if it was like a natural progression or if something like shifted. Is it as recent as like the genocide? Or was he already like this before? I mean, I guess to some degree he already was, because on Leftovers, he was kind of already doing the like, oh, let me get this like moderate audience and send them down the pipeline, and of his own admission on podcasts. So I don't know. I don't know when it happened or why. But he's also clearly being rewarded for it, right? Like he's found an audience. They love the way he talks to and about people. It's very much to me like the Coliseum in 2025, right? It's like people want blood, and we don't have like a public arena for that anymore. It's become the internet. And so Hasan is like, I don't want to be like Taylor Lorenz, but like he's like a gladiator just out here fucking delivering the blood that the people want, right? He's cutting, he's condescending, he, emasculates men who disagree with him. It's like all the things you want for some reason, but I don't know. I don't know how you sit there and watch that. To me, it's too masculine. It's like too toxically masculine. I'd rather watch the boys play Dress to Impress on H3 and do their makeup from Olivia. I like a softer masculinity personally. And to me, like that masculinity that he is putting out now is like it's like I said, it's like brittle. It's like fragile. You can see through it. It's like almost transparent. Back then he seemed to have like a little vulnerability. Now he just seems like disconnected and just very interested in like the image and maintaining the image, maintaining the talking points, you know? Hasan gets more content if Trump is president. Well, that's probably true. Philo, Hasan at Philo. Hasan campaign for what's happening right now. Not me thinking Coliseum, like the old gay club in New Jersey. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they would have loved Hasan. So yeah, this is that's what I wanted to show you. Like, to me, it wasn't what I was told it would be. Maybe I didn't dig enough, but that felt boring to me. And I was already seeing like some other interesting trends. So I wanted to share that, and also like show you that it's possible to go into something with one idea of what you're going to find, and that it's totally okay to acknowledge that that's not what you found, instead of like making shit up and applying more gravity and malice to things that it doesn't need, you know? His policies points are good though, so why fight with those on the same side? The same can be said about Ethan. It's the narcissism of small differences. The narcissism of small differences. Look it up if you weren't here earlier. I didn't think you'd find anything because I'm confident Hasan isn't a hypocrite or a grifter. I think, first of all, I think grifter is like way overused. Like, everyone has to make money. Like, can we stop acting like it's like amoral to do that? I don't know, because I'm not him. I don't know how pure his intentions are for focusing so heavily on the genocide, and if there is some subconscious opportunism there, which I think is true for many creators who have seen that their engagement goes way up, and it's like a win-win. It's like, I can talk about something I care about and also get more views. But then it's like, okay, well, people are responding the most when they're angry, so I'm going to do posts that make them angry so more people see it, so I help more. There's like a combination of like ego and altruism and like rationalizing it for yourself that I think a lot of creators are not admitting to. Maybe one day they will. He did admit to being a propagandist. Yes, he did. He absolutely did. Def Noodles is a grifter, not Hasan so much. Hasan is just angry, and I think we all understand why. 100%. People are angry. People are feeling desperate. People are feeling sad and hopeless and helpless. And yeah, I think watching someone be angry in other people's direction, and someone who's like giving you the words to use when you fight against people like that, it makes you feel like you have some power, some control, right? Like that you have like the language to pull. Thanks, Scott, for following. I'm confident. I'm sorry. Who's Pilo Milo? I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's opportunistic to focus on a literal genocide. Listen, I'm not saying it 100% is, but I do think that some people, not necessarily Hasan, I think some people, not that they're bad actors, but they are seeing that they can actually make a career, or money at least, off of talking about it. And now they're talking about it more. And it's not 100% because of how much they care about it. A piece of it is, I can do this for my job. Like, this is what I can do. I'm not saying that it's like, yeah, I'm going to make money off of this. It's like, it's capitalism is infecting everything. That's all. I think we can be honest about it. I think we need to be honest about things. I think like any political commentator, he commentates on the hottest and most important issues. Totally true, Philo. I just wish there was less venom overall. You know? specifically toward like, Kate will be employed by TED Entertainment very soon. Yeah, right. What were we talking about? Oh, like the hottest, most important issues. Yes. Was that what I was looking at? Totally lost my train of thought. It's fucking midnight here. He comments on all the main, like the hottest issues, which totally makes sense. It's like the venom. Oh, that's what it was. The venom toward potential allies. You know? Like that focus on the small differences. That to me feels counterproductive. That to me feels performative. And like a short-term win instead of like thinking more long-term and more strategically. You know, have the venom. The venom is deserved. Give the venom to the people in charge right now, including the Democrats who aren't doing enough at all, even close to it. They keep posting tweets and I'm like, okay, so what do we fucking do? What do we fucking do? Right? Give them the venom. Snarkers, make a snark about Donald Trump, right? Call CPS on him. That's what I keep coming back to. I'm like, Ethan is the guy. He's the public enemy number one to you guys. He could be such a powerful ally. They could be such allies to each other. It's just a bummer. ContraPoint said it best. They don't want to win. They want to endlessly critique power. Exactly. And that's why I'm worried that when, if and when, hopefully when Zoran wins, he's going to be the next, you know, progressive, the socialist that they eat, because he won't be doing enough quickly enough. He's going to be seen like having lunch with, I don't know, a moderate. He's going to be seen having lunch with a progressive New Yorker. And everyone will be like, chill. My algorithm blessed me with this live. I just wish Hasan and Ethan would be more mature. They contribute to silly nonsense too much. They turned on Bernie and AOC. They will turn on Zoran too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just too much. Hi, Tatiana. I'm just finishing up, literally. I've been on since 9:30 and it's 12 now. Having good faith is good, though. Giving people the room to show their own ass is so much more effective. Yes, exactly. And that's at the top of this. I said, if critics of Ethan and critics of Hasan, if these people didn't make every single thing that these creators did seem like it was the worst thing that's ever been done, if they didn't attach like evil doing, evil will to all, like every single choice Ethan makes in a day, right? The tattoo he gets, what he wears on the 4th of July. If they didn't like deal in all of that like QAnon-y weird symbolism shit, people might actually take their criticism seriously. Even Ethan might, right? But y'all just seem nuts. Because it's impossible that he is like the worst, even like the worst streamer out there. I mean, he's a fucking social democrat. Like, why can't we all be friends? You know? All right, that's all for me tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for following and subscribing. Philo Pilo, did you subscribe? Philo. We love that. Guys, we got Philo. We got Philo, baby. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you next time. We are going to do our first H3 after party Monday night after the show. Same time, so 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, European folks. So look for that. Make sure you follow. Get those notifications on if you want. whatever. And yeah, we'll talk about the first show back. I'm so excited. We're like 3 days away. So have a wonderful evening, and I will see you very, very soon. Do I not have it on here yet? Okay, then I'll just do this. Bye, everybody.